Alright guys, it is that time of the week and we are back for some championship score predictions. Some big games coming up this weekend, all of which will be previewed in today's video. As always, I want to hear from you in the comments down below. 500 likes will be massively appreciated, but without any further ado, let's jump in. And starting out with the big one on Friday night, we're going to Ewood Park for Blackburn up against Preston. And it's definitely North End who have the momentum coming into this game, coming off the back of back-to-back wins in the championship. We've only lost 2 of our last 14 matches, and even our away form has started to pick up of late, albeit we've only won twice on the road this season, but both of those away wins have come fairly recently, obviously with the latest one being away at Watford. And we're playing Blackburn at a decent time of the season. Rovers, who have definitely been experiencing a dip recently, they've only won 1 of their last 9 matches, and even in the recent history between Blackburn and Preston, Ewood Park has tended to be a pretty happy hunting ground for North End. We've won 3 of our last 4 games there. Now, I'm not going to lie, this game does scream of a tight encounter that I wouldn't at all be surprised if it does end level. Even thinking back to the reverse fixture at Deepdale earlier in the season, there were a couple of red cards in that game. It was very much a game where the emotions were running quite high, but it ultimately ended goalless. And I wouldn't be totally surprised if a similar thing was to happen here. But North End, we're riding the crest of a wave at the moment. We're coming off the back of 2 really good performances against Watford and Middlesbrough. Why not 2-1 Preston? I've not backed us for a win in a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if that one ends level. After that, and into the first of the Saturday early kickoffs, we're going to Oxford up against Bristol City. This one could be a decent game, you know. Bristol City, who are in and amongst the playoff picture right now. They've certainly got themselves back into the frame with that win over Blackburn last time. It's only 1 loss in their last 7 matches, but going away to Oxford is one of the toughest fixtures in the Championship right now. Since Boxing Day, no team in the Championship has accumulated more points than Oxford have, which is an absolutely miraculous run of form that Gary Rowett has had this side on recently. And if Oxford win this game, they'll only be 2 points behind Bristol City in the league table. So coming from relegation strugglers just a couple of months ago to the position they're in now, it's been absolutely amazing to see. A draw here wouldn't surprise me. I just think with Oxford, the momentum they've got behind them at the moment, I'm going to back them for a marginal 1-0 home victory in that one. Next up, we go to Home Park for Plymouth up against West Brom, and fair play to Plymouth for grabbing the point away at the Stadium of Light last time. I don't think anyone was giving them any chance whatsoever going into that game, especially coming off the back of that 5-0 thumping they had against Burnley last time, but managed to salvage a point late on. This one won't be easy against the West Brom side, who really found their flow in the final third last time out, putting 5 goals past Portsmouth. Still think there's something to be said about West Brom's away form. They've not really been firing on all cylinders in most of their away matches recently. They're without a win in their last 7 games on the road, but Plymouth currently on the longest winless run in the Championship, 15 games now without a win for Plymouth. I wouldn't be totally surprised if they nicked a point from this one. I'm just going to edge it towards West Brom though. 2-1 to the Baggies, I'm saying, in that game. Next then to Vicarage Road for Watford up against Norwich. For Norwich, it was a brilliant win last time out, putting 5 goals past Swansea. What a difference it makes having Josh Sargent back and ready to go into the starting 11. In the case of Watford, they do find themselves in a bit of a rut right now. They've lost 6 of their last 9 matches, and looking at their upcoming fixture list, things might be about to get even worse before they get better. Their next 3 games after this Norwich one are against Sunderland, Leeds and Middlesbrough. So it doesn't get much easier than that. And after that, they've got a local derby against Luton, which will probably be quite tasty. To be honest though, I do think this one will be fairly tight. For as good as Norwich were last time out, and generally speaking, for as good as they've been at Carrow Road this season, away from home, I've still got a bit of a question mark over them. Even scoring goals has been a bit of an issue for Norwich away from home this season. For as many as they've scored at home, they've only averaged 0.8 goals per game in their away matches so far this season. With all of that in mind, I'm going to sit on the fence for this one. 1-1 draw, I'm saying, between these two. After that, we go to Derby up against Sheffield United. And considering Sheffield United lost on the Friday night against Hull City 3-0, Blades fans were probably fearing the worst coming into that last weekend. In the end, it's worked out all right for them. Obviously, Burnley and Leeds ended up drawing, which I think probably suits Sheffield United, and Sunderland dropped points as well. So despite the 3-0 loss to Hull last time out, it could have been a lot worse had results also gone against them. And coming into this fixture against Derby, it feels like a decent one for Sheffield United to bounce back in. To be honest with the Blades, there has been a feeling recently, even in some of the games that they've won, that they've just about been getting over the line. Performance levels haven't been at an all-time high of late. Obviously, it has coincided with injuries, bedding new players into the team and things like that. You're going to get that throughout the season. This, I think, will be a case of being maybe a little bit of an ugly game. Derby won't want to make it easy, but they're in a real rut right now. It feels like that ground could become a bit of a pressure cooker on Paul Warne with the losing streak Derby are on at the moment, and especially if Sheffield United score early, they really could play on some of the frustrations in the home crowd. Score prediction for me in this one, I'm going to go 2-0 Sheffield United and back them to get back to winning ways in this one. Speaking of Hull City, we've got their game against Stoke to preview next, and this feels like a decent opportunity for Hull to make it back-to-back wins for the first time under Ruben Sellers. It was an absolutely brilliant performance last time out, putting 3 goals past Sheffield United, and feels like a bit of momentum is gathering there now at Hull, with Sellers firmly having his feet under the table. They've been pretty proactive in the January transfer window as well, and going up against a Stoke side who, to be fair, while they've not been losing a great deal of matches recently, they've not been winning a lot recently either. It's just 1 win in their last 15 championship matches now for Stoke, who are getting dragged ever closer to the bottom 3. Now, both these sides are each on 29 points coming into this weekend, but it definitely feels like Hull are the team with the momentum behind them at the moment. With Stoke in town, wouldn't be completely surprised if this one ends level. Obviously, it was a goalless draw for them last time out against Oxford, but Hull seem to have a bit more about them at the moment. Score prediction in that one, I'm going to go 2-1 to the Tigers. Next then we go to Elland Road for Leeds up against Cardiff. Now Cardiff have been on a decent unbeaten run recently. They've pulled themselves away from the relegation zone as a result of that, but can they translate that into a competitive performance away at Elland Road? Because not a lot of championship sides have been able to do that so far this season. Leeds coming off the back of what was a pretty uninspiring goalless draw with Burnley last time out. Not the worst result in the world by any stretch, and I think this is a good opportunity here for Leeds to get back to winning ways. To be honest, when it comes to Leeds, I think these next few weeks in the Championship will be quite pivotal actually in determining whether or not they finish as one of the top 2 in the Championship. After this game against Cardiff, Leeds have got back-to-back away matches against Coventry and Watford, neither of which will be a walk in the park. And then after that, they've got a block of 3 games which are looking really tricky against Sunderland, Sheffield United and West Brom. So I think we're going to learn a lot about Leeds over these next few weeks. But in terms of a score prediction for this game, it's hard to look past a Leeds win when they're playing at home. Score prediction there, I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds. Next up we go to the Den for Millwall up against QPR. And credit to Millwall and Alex Neil. It hadn't been the easiest of starts for Neil going in at the Den. He'd obviously inherited the Millwall side who hadn't been on a great run of form towards the end of Neil Harris's tenure there. But quite crucially, they've picked up back-to-back wins on the road and against 2 sides who aren't easy to play, especially when you go away from home, you know, going to Kenilworth Road and Fratton Park and walking away with 6 points and back-to-back clean sheets isn't to be sniffed at. And this is the sort of game where the first goal feels quite important, to be honest with you. QPR have been really decent value for money recently, in away matches especially. They've won their last 2 on the road. They're looking to bounce back, though, from a loss last time out against Sheffield Wednesday. Prior to that loss against Wednesday, QPR had won 4 in a row. Score prediction for this one, I'm fancying it to end level. 1-1, I'm saying, between those 2. After that, we go to Fratton Park for Portsmouth up against Burnley. Bit of a frustrating one for Pompey in midweek, losing 1-0 against Millwall, despite having the majority of the possession in that game, pushing for the equaliser in the second half. It just wasn't falling for them in the final third. It is only their first loss in their last 8 home matches. Generally speaking, Fratton Park has been a happy hunting ground for Pompey of late, but this is going to be a tough match, especially coming off the back of back-to-back defeats. Burnley obviously looking to get back to winning ways after that goalless draw against Leeds last time out. In the whole context of their season, you know, they kept the unbeaten streak going. As a neutral, it wasn't a great game to watch, Burnley against Leeds, but keeps them in the fight for automatic promotion, and especially if they can back it up with all 3 points here, which they've tended to do on the road this season. No team has accumulated more points in away matches this season than Burnley have. Wouldn't be surprised if this was a tight, low-scoring draw, but I'm just going to edge it to Burnley for a 1-0 away win in that match. After that, we go to Hillsborough for Sheffield Wednesday up against Luton Town. And could Sheffield Wednesday be a bit of a dark horse for the top 6 in this second half of the season? It was a real statement win for them last time away at QPR, up against a QPR side who have been absolutely flying prior to that matchup. Well, Wednesday aren't losing a lot of football matches right now. They've only lost 3 of their last 14, and they are the overwhelming favourites coming into this game against Luton, a Luton side who have lost their last 11 consecutive away matches in the Championship. Still feels as if Matt Bloomfield is getting to know that Luton squad. The club's going to be trying to get busy in these final few days of the window to patch up that team and try and get them out of the predicament they find themselves in the table at the moment. But heading into this one, I just feel like Wednesday are better prepared right now. Score prediction there, I'm going to go 2-1 Wednesday, which would be a massive result. After that, we go to Swansea up against Coventry, a game which is made even more interesting with the backdrop of all the Matt Grimes speculation coming into this one. Now, Coventry definitely have the momentum coming into this fixture. They've won their last 3 Championship matches. They're not losing a lot of games right now, and feels like even they could be a bit of a dark horse to put a case together for making it into the top 6 in this second half of the campaign. And they're going up against the Swansea side who have really dropped off in recent weeks. They were absolutely torn apart away at Norwich. They've now lost 6 of their last 9 matches. These final few days of the transfer window could be quite telling for Swansea as well. I think they'll make more of a game of it, Swansea, than they did last time, considering they are back at home in this one. Swansea did win the reverse fixture, it's worth pointing out as well, away at Coventry, but for this fixture it just feels like Cov have all the momentum. Score prediction, I'm going to go 2-1 Coventry, which would be 4 wins on the bounce for Lampard, which would be absolutely huge. And then to finish off the weekend, on Monday night, we've got Middlesbrough going up against Sunderland. A big game at the top end of the Championship. Middlesbrough looking to hold on to their spot in the top 6. I didn't think they were brilliant last time out. Obviously, I got to see them up close and personal against my team, Preston North End. Yes, they did get in some decent goal-scoring positions in the final third, but what's been their Achilles heel all season has been giving away cheap and silly goals, and that was on full display in Borough's last game against North End. Nailing down some proper consistency has been a bit of an issue for Middlesbrough. I was really surprised to learn when I looked at their form recently that the last time Middlesbrough won back-to-back games in the Championship, you're going all the way back to November. In saying that, I do think they'll give Sunderland a good run for their money in this one. I'm fancying chances to be created at both ends of the pitch. Sunderland definitely a lot more defensively sturdy, and if either team's going to win this game 2-0, I'd probably back that to be Sunderland. Felt like the Black Cats missed a bit of an opportunity over the weekend though, as they dropped points against Plymouth. Obviously, it was quite a rarity where all of the top 4 ended up dropping points. So, bit of an opportunity missed for Sunderland to close the gap on the sides above them. Do you know what? I wouldn't be totally surprised if this one ends level. Score prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between those two. I don't think there'll be a great deal in it. But guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and make sure to drop all your Championship score predictions for this weekend in the comments down below. Other than that though guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.